Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be doing a full day wear test of the new Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. So the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation is a weightless foundation that blurs the line between makeup and skincare with medium buildable coverage, a natural finish, waterproof wear, and up to 12 hours of fade-proof wear. This retails for $48 US or 64 Canadian and has 30 shades. This is available now on their website and Sephora. So it does come in a really pretty soft touch matte box. I picked up the shade 1 and 2 Vanille, and this is what the packaging looks like. So it is a frosted glass bottle with a nude lid, has some gold detailing here and just the brand. This does have 1 fluid ounce and has a 12-month shelf life. This is also made in Italy. This is the first Laura Mercier foundation I have ever tested, so I'm pretty excited about that. I have worn this a couple of times this week, and I already have some thoughts in mind, but I haven't done the full wear test with and without primer, all of the things. So we're going to do that together today. So let's pin the hair back. So right away, I really love the packaging on this. I think it's beautiful. It's very heavy. It looks very high end. And the pump on this is actually also very high quality. So I'm just taking a couple pumps on my palette, and this is what it looks like. It is definitely on the more liquidy side. And as with all of my foundation wear tests, I am going to prime and powder one side of my face and not the other, so that way we can get a comparison of how both sides wear and hold up. So I think I'm going to prime and powder this side and not this side. I am going to be a little bit much, and I am going to double prime because I want a little bit of a pore fill, and then I want something on the rest of my face. I'm just using my Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer to smooth out the pores. And then for the rest of my face, I'm just grabbing the Dior Backstage Face and Body Primer. I love this one for all over. I think it just creates a really smooth canvas. It really doesn't do too much, but it really just kind of gives such a smooth canvas. So I did see on the website and Sephora that it recommended using their brush, but I do not really like this with the brush. First off, the shade, it says it's neutral, but I really think it pulls a little bit more warm, which is a pet peeve of mine, I will say that. I feel like I'm getting a more light to medium coverage. I don't feel like I'm getting a solid medium. So let's do the other side with the sponge. It does, of course, look more skin-like, but that's pretty typical for most foundations. But I find it just blends so much more seamlessly. And I've been on a huge brush kick lately, so I prefer to do foundations with a brush. This one just really seems to work best with a sponge. I just feel like the application is so much more even on this one, and I feel like I'm getting more of that medium buildable coverage. And even though the shade did pull a little bit warm, this one does end up working for me. I just, I wish it was a little bit more neutral and a little less yellow leaning. Just building up a little bit extra on this side. Okay, so the coverage is not bad. I don't really think it's the most medium buildable. I think it's more light to medium. I think you can build it up to a good medium, but that's it. I will say I love the way it dries down to like a soft matte on the skin. It does not feel like it needs powder, and it does not dry down tacky, which is a huge thing with me. I do not like when foundations are tacky on the skin. Some of my very favorites are a little bit tacky and I need to add powder, and that's fine. It's just that right away, if a foundation dries down and it's not tacky, I love that. I like how it looks on the skin. It's given me a bit of a healthy glow. I think both sides are looking relatively the same compared to the primed and not primed side. I should do a little bit of spot concealing over here. I do think it looks very skin-like, which I love, and that is in part assisted by the sponge. It definitely gives a very healthy radiance to the skin. It is quite weightless. I don't feel like I have something on, but if I touch my face, it doesn't feel like I'm touching foundation. It feels like I'm touching my face with skincare. So I do like that. That does make me pretty happy. I'm just gonna do some concealer. I'm just using my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin concealer. For powder, I'm just going to go in with my Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Airy. Just going to take a little bit of that. I don't really feel like I need it, but I kind of do want to try it out anyway. I'm going to just, of course, just this side of the face. The foundation is definitely settling right into any sort of lines. My forehead lines really don't bother me. I've kind of had them my entire life, so they do not bother me. But if you cannot stand your foundation going into lines, this one will do that. I love how good that powder makes your skin look. It took a little bit of the glow, but not much, but it shrinks the size of pores. It just looks so good. Let me pop off camera. I'll finish the rest of my makeup and I will be right back to get the wear test started. All right, so the rest of the makeup is on. I am still really liking how the foundation looks. I think it looks really nice. It's been on for about an hour and a half at this point. I did just film another video. So far I think it's really good. It's definitely settling into lines, especially my forehead lines, but that's okay. I'm not really noticing a difference from side to side between the primed and powdered side to the not. So I'm gonna go about my day and I will see you guys at the end of the night with my final thoughts. All right, you guys, so we are at the very end of the day and I feel like all of my makeup today held up very, very well. I'm very pleased with my makeup. We are officially at the 10-hour mark. I am so impressed. So I did my makeup at 8 a.m. this morning, which is way earlier than I normally film, but I really wanted to start this wear test. So at this point, the foundation actually still looks really, really good. I do think it is still perfectly intact. Aside from my nose has definitely worn off, but everything else still seems to be in very good shape. I do think I'm getting a little bit of fading right around my jawline, which makes a little bit of sense. I've been doing a lot of work, so I've been kind of resting my head in my hands. I did quite a bit of filming today. I did some cleaning. I actually took a nap. So I think my skin still does look really healthy. It has a very slight glow to it. It just looks very healthy and just still very pulled together. I stand by the fact that I think this is a more light to medium coverage. It describes itself as medium buildable. In my opinion, it's definitely light to medium. Definitely applied way better with a sponge. I found it just gave a much more skin-like appearance, but it just blended better as well when I used the sponge. So that was something important as well. I think the packaging on this is really, really beautiful. The pump is definitely a good quality pump as well. I mean, that matters to me. For example, my NARS foundation that I love so much, the pump is atrocious. This is an actually really good quality pump, so I love that, especially when you're paying upwards of $50, $60 for a foundation. You want the packaging to last at least as long as the foundation does. So between the two sides, this side I primed, I set with powder, and this side I did not. And quite honestly, I think both sides look pretty much very, very similar. This side might look a tiny bit more perfected, but overall I think both sides look pretty much the same and they're both still holding up the same. So the primer and the powder really doesn't seem to have had any effect on my wear time. I will say I do think it settles into lines very quickly. Very quickly. Even where I used powder, I pressed everything out. You can really see smile lines. I'm a very expressive person, but you can see my smile lines and my forehead lines are a bit enhanced. So next time I might want to do more of maybe a pore fill primer or something up on my forehead. So I will say you probably will want to watch those areas a little bit as well. When I touch my skin on the unpowdered side, it still just feels like skincare. So I love that. It still feels like a very lightweight foundation. I am impressed that it is still holding up after 10 hours. It looks very flawless and it does describe itself as having fade resistant for 12 hours or something like that. So so far I do think that's true. But I did do a lot of things today and I'm really impressed with how this wore. Yeah, I really don't have anything negative to say other than I found it settled into my lines really easily and the shade was too warm. Again, I had the shade 1 and 2 Vanille, which should be much more neutral. I found it pulled a little bit too yellow, which I did not like. That's just a pet peeve of mine. Other than that, I think this is a great foundation. It is available in 30 shades. Just know if you are my shade twin, you might want to go down one, or you might want to go with the cooler option. For a neutral option, it definitely should not pull yellow. However, I did still manage to make it work. It suited me quite well. I was able to blend it out, and I don't think you can really tell that it's yellow. Overall, I think this was a very successful foundation wear test. I feel great about this foundation. I love how well the makeup is holding up. I am so happy with this foundation, and I'm glad because she was not cheap. I love the way my skin looks. Definitely a great foundation for dry skin in my opinion. Again, I did have some clinging to a dry patch right here, but next time I would say I would just need to prep that area a little bit better, and I think I'll be fine. So overall, I think it's great for dry skin. It feels very hydrating, feels like skincare, feels very lightweight, applies best with a sponge. I would say if you can go in store to get shade matched, I would do so. I would recommend that with this one. For dry skin, I absolutely love this. I love how long wearing it is. I love that it's still pretty much perfectly intact and it's holding up the rest of the makeup really well also. I'm very pleased. I have no complaints. I don't think this will be on par with my NARS foundation. I don't think it is quite up to par with my Makeup by Mario, but I'm still really enjoying it, and I think I'm going to continue to do so. So overall, I think this was a very successful foundation wear test. Let me know down below if you picked this one up. What are your thoughts? What's your skin type? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!